Good evening and welcome to Jackal Garage. I'm your host Mike, and with me is my echo chamber, Jeff.
You always forget what show we're on because you're so used to go. You always sound like you're getting ready to say good morning and welcome to What's New with Mike and Jeff.
I do.
Like, yeah, so
It's part of my
too many.
uh, not too many. I just kind of forget. I just kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah,
What day
yeah.
is it?
Okay, what's going on? Hello, what's happening?
Good
Adam is with.
evening. Hello, Adam. How are you, buddy?
Oh, yeah, no, I know the feeling.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so what have you been up to, buddy?
Not much, man. Just falling behind on everything I'm trying to get done and running around, jumping through hoops for doctors, doing the same old crap. So,
Well,
but
all
yeah,
right. Yeah.
not getting anything done. Nothing at all that I need to get
It's
done.
never. That is never good.
No, no.
Especially. Good evening, Tim. Oh, I still got to. I got to figure out this monitor situation so I can actually read those comments without having to get up, or maybe go to the eye doctor and get glasses. One of the two things has to happen. Greg, how are you, buddy?
The smell of burnt rubber and drunken and broken dreams.
My life story.
That was my late teens, early 20s when I was in the drag racing. I spent every weekend I was in a drag strip with a car or underneath a hood or doing something. So I finally remember it was my Motorhead days, and not Motorhead the group, although that was probably playing somewhere.
Somewhere in the background.
Yeah.
I guess we don't have any pictures to show.
No, we didn't. We didn't get any new pics, and I didn't put it. I don't have any of my stuff. Normally, I take a pic of mine, but I haven't done that yet.
Well,
So I'll just use this camera here to show them.
well, I guess we could show a little bit of progress work that we've had going on. So I'm going to go ahead and switch cameras
Do your thing.
and show you guys what I've been doing. Um, it bugs me when my camera's not straight enough. I picked that up from you.
It is,
So
it
here,
is, it is an OCD.
so here's the Mustang we've been kind of chipping away at. Last week we got the bullet holes and all that kind of stuff. During the week, though, I cut a hole in the top, and I had this idea that I was going to have a machine gun sticking out of the hole here.
Right?
Well, that idea went south. It didn't work.
Why not?
Because I drilled the hole too far forward. I would have had to drill the hole a little bit further back, and now the gun it would point up too high. That's kind of how it points up.
Why,
So,
why, why don't you make it a mortar?
because I'm gonna put a mortar in the back window.
Oh, well then
So,
make it a coaxially mounted gun.
yeah, I got to figure out something. I was thinking about just putting the gun right through the center, coming out the front window.
There you go. Make
And
it
I
a
was just.
howitzer. Just put a big 105 barrel.
I could do that. No, but I was thinking to do that, and then I'll just take a piece of diamond plating and just like weld it to the top here,
Right?
and just make it look like a patch job.
That'll work too.
That's kind of what I was thinking, to salvage it. But sometimes that's what happens when you're working on these cars.
Yeah.
Is you're putzing around with them, you're doing things, you have these crazy ideas, and sometimes they don't work. And what's fun is you get to then go back and fix those crazy ideas,
Yeah, you get to go try to fix those ideas.
and you can make them work. So that was a boo boo on my part. It happens. And the only reason I was really trying to do that is this car has this little compartment back here.
Right?
So in my mind, I was visualizing, well, yeah, that's where the reloader is. There's like a person back there, and they're doing all the reloading and everything. So I figured it'd be kind of a cool way to have the gun sticking out.
Right.
It just didn't work. So I go plan B. I'll fix that, and that will be good. The
Yeah.
other thing I started working on was the coupe. This was that yellow coupe that I showed last week or the week before.
Right.
And I talked about taking out the trunk. Well, I took out the trunk. So that was just a matter of me drilling a couple holes in it and sitting out in the garage with the jeweler saw, just hacking away at it. So
Solid
what
open.
sawed it open. So what I want to do now is remove this plastic, and I'm going to have a person back there holding a gun.
Right.
It's just going to be like a compartment for a person to be sitting shooting at people in the back.
All right, that'd be cool.
That's about all I got.
Well, I meant to have this much farther along. This is my I showed some mock-ups of the Bel Air.
Uh-huh.
This is where I'm at so far. I want to be much farther, but here it is. I've got my lovely gigantic blade in the front, equipped with spikes. Keep people from trying to climb on it, or if somebody does get on it, it ends them very quickly. I've got my double scoops, and then off the back I've got the twin machine gun with I've built this armor cupola or whatever you want to call it, right back here. Cupola. Right back there. Now this is going to be different than others because I've kind of glossed it up a bit, as you can see.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to detail out the undercarriage. You get all that done tonight. I'm going to try to anyway. And then I'm going to basically rust the crap out of it. Like this was something that used to be a beautiful car that someone found in a garage, and it was all rusted up. And converted it to this. And you can see on the wheels. I'll see if I can get the wheels kind of lit for you so you can see what they are. If you can see the spikes, move my finger there.
Oh, yeah, I can see them.
All the wheels have these lovely spikes on them. So, and they go with the rotation of the tire. So as the tire rotates, these 5 spikes per wheel will dig into their opponent. So, yeah, that's what I'll be working on tonight.
Cool. Well, that's exciting.
So, yeah, I haven't figured out what I'm going to call it yet. I always have to have a name for them.
According to Greg, you should call it the Fresh Prince.
The Fresh Prince. Somehow
Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Get it?
Yeah, I got it. Took me a second, but that's actually not bad.
I kind of like it
because it's Greg. I'm kind of fighting. I'm kind of fighting the gut laugh. You know, it's like it's Greg. I can't give in. Can't let him think he was that funny. By the way,
you're rusting. Tim is emotional about you.
Dude, nothing personal, but I do know how to weather. I proved it here. I've proved it on other things. I just choose not to. I personally think too many people use it to cover up bad paint jobs.
I'll be that first one to admit to that. So before I jump into my builds, I wanted to share a secret. I'm always learning new things in general. I like to do that.
Right.
And one of the things I learned over the weekend is how people take off the plastic off of so they can save the cards for their Hot Wheels. And I guess it's something that people do for mispackaging and stuff. There's like a dirty black market out there. People like to collect mispackages.
Right.
So people will open up packages and flip the car around, put it in upside down or something, reseal it, and sell it as a mispackage.
Right.
Which rarely happens. But I did learn how to take these off, and I thought it was kind of fun. So I wanted to share with everybody how it's done. Simply because when I learn something, I like to share it with other people.
Oh,
so
nice.
Basically what you do is you take your package and you just get some nail polish remover, some acetone. And on the back side of the package, because the front side has a gloss coat, the back side doesn't. So it's more absorbent. And you can just get a little bit of the acetone and you just kind of start dabbing it where the plastic would be. And what will happen is this stuff will, whoops, I just dropped my thing inside there. It will start going through the paper and loosening up the glue that holds it in.
Oh, wow.
And I'm doing this one a little bit more careful than I did my other ones because I did notice I got some discoloration on the white on the inside.
Right.
So I'm trying to do it a little bit more gingerly on this one. And I do have a reason why I wanted to learn this skill that I will show you when I'm done. but you just kind of keep just putting this stuff on, and it will absorb through, and it will loosen up the glue,
Right.
and then you can pull the you'll be able to pull this right off.
Cool.
So let me play around with this if you want to go ahead and get started.
I'm actually getting ready to do that. I've always done that with just a blow dryer.
What do you mean?
Because those blisters are heat sealed on there, and when they actually compact those blisters, and then put it in a machine that just simply heats the outside rim of the cardboard where the blister and the cardboard meet.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I used to blister pack at GW. I mean, that was my first job when I got hired as a salesman. My first week on the job was working in blister packing, so I knew how bloody hard it was and how much I didn't want to do that for a living. So because they're just heat pressed. I've always done it with just by heating the back of the card, so not to affect the gloss, and eventually it just comes right up because you basically the heat softens it back up.
I did not know that. I'll have to try that. So that would be another thing for me to try because the acetone smells.
Yeah, that's why. I could be. It may not work for Hot Wheels. I really don't know.
Well, it's always worth a shot trying because I don't know what kind of adhesive Hot Wheels uses.
The blister packers when I got hired at GW, your first week at GW, then during that period of time, you spent a week in manufacturing and in shipping. Like for example, when my couple days in the metal rooms,
yeah,
I spent basically spinning metal. And what was great for me is everybody that was there knew me, and they knew I was a big Bretonian player because they met me in the '97 GT.
Yeah.
The new Bretonian night models were coming out. All of them were metal. So Alan let me spin up all the new molds. I got to do the first spin on all the new Bretonian molds. And then I went from there to blister packing. And blister packing, they have these templates, depending on the size of the blister, they put in a machine. And you lay the actual blister in these little cutouts. And then you fill the blister with everything that's supposed to go in it. And then you put in your foam insert behind it. Then you and they all have these little pins that run around where the blister goes in, and you put your card down, and there are pins that hold it and line it up perfectly. And then you pull a lever, and this big heated plate comes down, and it presses for X amount of seconds. And when you pull it up, you pull your blisters out and cut. They're basically the heat activates the adhesive that's coated on the card, and that's the blister sticks. So
well, then I'm gonna have to try with heat because that sounds like a lot easier than what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's a
even
heat
though this
adhesive.
Sweet, that's good to know.
That's what GW does. So
well, I'm willing to try it. I can't see Hot Wheel being much different.
Yeah,
and it's slowly starting to peel up, and it's not perfect.
We could conduct an experiment right now.
What's that?
I have this.
Well, get your hairdryer out.
I could actually grab one of the other ones too. So
that could be fun because
we'll have a race.
This is how people repackage their cars.
Greg says the bonus though is that with Aspen you get a free buzz.
Well, I don't know if I'm after the free buzz.
Well, I'm going to mute my mic, and then I will. Plus, it lets me run my blow dryer is about ready to die, and I've been wanting to go get one, but because it actually still has a little bit of life in it, I've been refusing. So if I blow it, this might get me a chance to go buy a new blow dryer.
It might be the motivation you're looking for.
Yeah, so I'm going to be here doing this with my handy blow dryer.
I think I'm going to have to go a little bit harder instead of using the Q-tip like I was doing.
So anyway, I'll be here, but right. I will be using.
Anyways, you guys, the reason I started this is I kind of have this idea of repackaging my cars and keeping the card stock. And I've tried different things like cutting the plastic off and things like that. And none of them seem to really work that well. So with this, it just works a lot easier. And I still get a little bit of damage. Of course, you guys know whenever I do anything live on TV or on stream, everything kind of goes south. The few that I did earlier came out really good. But this kind of takes it off easier. So this is gone. I don't really damage it too much. And then I can repackage this. And what my vision is after I strip the cars and add, screw them back together and everything, I can repackage them like this. And I can just repackage them stripped. And then if I want to, I could sell them. And Mike's Demo Disasters, that's exactly it. Whenever I do something live, it always goes south. But I can repackage them, and then I could sell these stripped, all the chrome stripped off, all the paint stripped off. I've tapped the post underneath and screwed it back together, and then I could just sell these off. And that's kind of what my thought process was with doing this. Yeah, it's a little bit more time, and I don't really need to put it back in the packaging. But when someone sees it and they're like, "Oh, that's cool," it's just more of a marketing thing than anything. Just keeping them in the original package. So that was something I learned. And again, I'm always trying to learn new things and explore new things and just kind of have some fun with the hobby. And yes, I like building the cars and stuff, but I like doing other stuff as well. So if you're interested, you may want to give that a shot if it's something that interests you. I'm kind of curious to see how Jeff's going to do. How much you selling them for? I didn't really, cars cost 99 cents. I'd probably sell them for like, after stripping the paint, tapping, and screwing them back together and everything like that, I don't know, probably $5. Because I'm putting at least an hour into every car. Stripping the paint, stripping the chrome, drilling them out, tapping them, and putting them all back together again. So, probably about $5. But you don't have to do anything to the car, it's done. And then at that point, all you got to do is whatever your modifications are. And I have tons of cars, so it gives me something to do. Because I can't have paint stripper and stuff in my house. Oh, yeah. Well, tell me what cars you want, and we'll work something out, buddy. I'll be more than happy to wheel and deal in cars, especially if you can't. Now, you can't have paint stripper. I'm assuming you probably have children or somebody in the house that would keep you from using paint stripper. And if that's the case, I get it. If it's a smell thing, though, I use something called citrus strip, which doesn't have a pungent smell like paint stripper. It smells more like oranges. So that's something, depending on why you can't have it, though, might be helpful. So anyways, I'm going to get back to work on this guy. And if you're interested, let me know. Oh, what happened?
It may take a bit longer because I'm heating through the cardboard so I don't warp the blister.
Right.
But yeah, it's starting to give way. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's starting to give way down here at the bottom where it's getting warm.
Gotcha.
You can see right there.
Oh, yeah.
It's starting to give way. It's just, I think if you spent about 10 solid minutes back and forth, I think it would actually, because that's what happened. Like Greg actually made a joke. He used to live and sit in his car in Arizona, and they pop right off. That prolonged heat is what does it. It softens that adhesive back up. And like I said, it's just in a little bit of time I've been heating this. Now I was heating it this way. I started this way, then now I'll melt the plastic.
Right.
But I went back to the cardboard side. And like I said, both these little ends here are starting to come up. And I think if I kept doing it, you can see where it's coming up here at the side.
Yep.
So it's starting to come up pretty easily. So I think that might work, especially because one of the things brought it up is I saw you spill your acetone.
Yeah, I know.
And left a blemish on your cutting mat.
Yep. Yep. But heat might work. So.
Yeah, he could very possibly work.
Well, like Greg said, it's Mike's disaster demos.
Well, you and I talked. Now, here's something I will recommend. Don't heat your stuff directly above your cutting mat.
Right, because then you mess up your cutting mat.
Because your cutting mat will work.
Yeah. Throw it in the microwave, Jeff. I don't know if that's really sound advice,
You know, when I was a kid, Greg, my mom taught me a lesson. She told me that there are going to be many people in my life, and some of them are going to say really crazy things, and that I should exercise my own independent thought and reasoning powers to go, no, you're batshit crazy. So that would be my answer to the throw it in the microwave. Yes. Besides, I did that with my little brother. It didn't turn out real well.
You
So
threw your little brother in a microwave?
yeah, we tried to.
That don't sound smart.
Nah, we didn't. We told him we were going to though. Best part was he believed us.
I just kind of wanted to learn something new. And Greg, if you want to shoot me a message and let me know what cars you're interested in, I will be more than happy to situate some because you have little ones and a husky that seems to want to put their nose in everything. So I can help you out, buddy.
Also, Greg, I got your IM through the What's New with Mike and Jeff page. I sent you a friend request on Facebook, so you can IM me directly if you would like. Ba-dum-bum-bum.
Steve said you didn't try hard enough.
Yeah, well, at the time, I actually kind of liked the kid. That, of course, over the years has
Shifted.
yeah, at times, depending on the day.
My brothers tormented me quite a bit when I was a kid.
Yeah, but you were the youngest.
Yes, I was.
I am the eldest,
Yep.
unfortunately. And my dad reminded me of that constantly,
That you were the eldest.
that I had a certain responsibility. And unfortunately, I drilled that into my eldest daughter's head.
That she has a responsibility.
She is the eldest, and she has to set the standard that the others follow.
Good evening, Jonathan. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Jonathan is here.
Yeah, it looks like Greg accepted your request. Greg, you're going to regret it, buddy.
Yeah, I'm never on. You'll never hear from me unless you send me something. And if you blow up my phone too much, I'll just unfriend you. So I guess
Rules are simple.
that's the hardship of friending me on Facebook. I am going to be working with some AKI product today.
Yeah?
The lovely AKI Dust Effects, the lovely Streaking Grime, and Rust Streaks.
And all I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to fill this in to make it look solid because I don't like that look, obviously. So, tumbleweed Facebook friendly. So I'm just putting some plastic card over everything just to kind of just fill it in, make it look like it all belongs. It's only going to be seen when the car is blown up, which will probably happen often.
And now, all right, and this is the interior, as you can see.
Covered up.
And because I am massively smart, I put all this window screen and built this cupola on the back with these two big machine guns. So I'm throwing that away. So,
oh no! That's tragic.
And the only reason I'm keeping this part is because that actually sticks up. So I have to
the roll cage piece.
The roll cage piece. So I have to paint those as lights. And I'm putting the interior in, but I ain't painting it.
Well, it sounds, and you got the dice in the mirror, right?
Oh, absolutely. I even hand painted them. Love you guys.
Yeah, that's what we thought.
Yeah. And the same thing applies. I put window screen in my Hot Wheels cars, so I don't have to paint the interiors.
Because you're smart that way.
No, I don't know. I'm lazy. You could call it lazy. Oh, there you go. There you can see the spikes now.
Oh, yeah, with the white background.
Look at those spikes. Brr. Spiky, spiky.
Spiky.
Ooh.
I'm just pulling scrap out of my
Out of your. Don't say it. Don't say it.
my scrap bin.
Oh, okay. Woo! Woo!
What you think I was gonna say?
Dodge the bullet.
You don't think I'd say something inappropriate, do you?
Well, I said a bad word just a few minutes ago.
I didn't hear a thing.
I said a naughty.
You said a naughty.
I said a naughty word. Dirty word. You said a dirty word. Oh, sorry.
Dirt is a dirty word.
Ugh.
All right.
I wanted to have most of this done tonight, so I could actually really work on the rust effects. But I'll probably do that next week because I do not think I'm going to get a chance to work on this much after tonight.
Just with a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, well, I'm really trying to still get these commissions caught up and out the door, and between like I said, I lost an entire day again today between doctor's visits and hospital labs, and if I was a religious man, I'd say, God, just kill me and get it over with.
That'd be no fun.
Depending on what goes on afterwards.
He wants to torment and torture you.
I knew I put the down payment on my tickets to that place a long time ago.
I cannot say bad words.
Actually, Mike does it all the time, but I forget to hit the go live button when he does it.
I got lucky that one time.
Yeah. Man, it was funny too.
It was hilarious.
He realized that he'd actually dropped an F-bomb, and then we both realized that we weren't live yet. I was like, woo! Missed that one. You know, we should actually someday, Mike, I wish we really could find a way to record and have a blooper reel.
Well, we can save the recordings.
Sometimes our conversations before the show starts are especially when something goes wrong.
Well, that's just every one of our demos.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just funny how we can do things outside of the show and not have any problems.
Yep.
And then we go live. It's like, all right, we're going to do this.
And it all goes horribly wrong.
It goes terribly wrong.
Horribly wrong. No. And Jonathan says that's why he loves the word frack. I like the word, the one from the original series, cut the filber carb.
Filbert card. I don't remember that.
Yeah, the original one back in the 70s.
Right.
So, that was, they had frack and filber carb.
I don't know which one was. I like the newer one, but
I like them both. I look at them as dramatically different shows, based on the same rough story arc.
Right.
But I really like the original.
And sometimes the original's just it's just different humor, different time.
It's antiquated.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's a nostalgia trip for me. Like when I watch Buck Rogers, it's more nostalgia than
watching Buck Rogers.
It doesn't translate well into this time frame.
What I wish I got canceled was Caprica.
Yeah, Caprica was good.
Wasn't that a more modern movie?
No, it was actually a spin-off of Battlestar Galactica, and it took place on the home world in Battlestar Galactica, where basically they're all variants of the zodiac signs. There was Caprica, and Caprica was where the Cylons were, because the Cylons, of course, used to be, a human creation in their most recent rendition of BSG, and they were created on, the AI was created in Caprica. It was kind of a sci-fi soap opera about the development of the first Cylons.
Got it.
But it only got one season.
Assuming people just didn't grasp it.
It was, I think the problem, in my personal opinion, everyone thought it was going to be a Battlestar Galactica kind of an action, sci-fi, ships fighting, blah blah blah. But it wasn't. It was literally more of a soap opera on an alien world that was quite a bit like 21st Century Earth.
Got it.
Yeah. Did they get 1.5 seasons, Jonathan?
Greg says you just like Buck Rogers for the girl in the suit.
Jennifer Grey, that was her name, I believe. And no, I like Tweaky, the little robot dude. Oh yeah, I forgot what the writers strike hit right then too. It did have some pretty good star power. Eric Stoltz was in it. I can't remember the name of the other actor that was in it, but he's actually pretty good as well. Oops. I think his name was Tweaky. Man, we didn't waste any time jumping into movie time.
No, we were on it.
We were right into it. New movie TV time. I hope everyone watched the latest episode of Mandalorian. Speaking of movie TV time.
Oh yeah, where's everybody at with that so we can talk about it?
Jonathan, I guarantee you, Jonathan's going to be behind.
I hope not. There's a lot to talk about with that show right now.
Yes. I'm liking it.
He still hasn't answered.
Yeah, he's probably ashamed because he hasn't caught up yet. Or he's trying to find it right now to watch it quickly.
Well, he keeps talking about other shows and other people. All right, so all I did here, the biggest series I was hyped, that was ridiculous. The Tales of the Golden Monkey.
I remember hearing about it. I don't know if I ever actually watched it.
So all I did here, you guys, was just I just glued on some plastic card just to fill in those spaces, and what I'll do is I'll sand down that edge, smooth it out, and it's just to make it look just a little bit more solid, like it belongs. It's more cosmetic than it is anything. Yes, Steve, the child was a brat. But we can't really talk about it until we know if everybody here has seen it.
Because we don't want to.
Well, I don't want to spoil it for anybody.
That's my point. I found the latest episode incredibly creepy.
The latest episode creepy?
Creepy.
Okay.
And as soon as Jonathan lets us know where he is in the whole thing, or make sure everyone else is caught up with it.
Yeah, like we know Steve watched it. So one of the good things with the Implements of Carnage is you do get some sheets of metal that you can use, and this one has diamond plating on it. Also has some corrugated steel. And what I'm thinking for this, we watched almost the entire first season again today. But what about season 2?
He hasn't watched any of season 2 yet because he wanted to catch up on season 1.
All right. So Hurry up and catch up, Jonathan, so we can talk about it.
Do we have to ban him from the show unless he actually shows us he's caught up with all these movies? Because he's the whole reason we have TV and Movie Talk.
Yeah, I know. He's like, hey. And we can't even do it.
Maybe we should say you cannot join the show unless you call and give us proof you're caught up on all the good, cool shows.
So I'm just going to cut a piece of this diamond plating off and just put it on the top here. And then what I'm going to do is just take some, I'm actually going to use green stuff and make a bead of it and put it around, make it look like it's welded on top. And that's going to fix my mistake that I made. Which is really not a mistake in Gaslands. It's just you cut a hole.
You could have actually taken a hit and not just patching it up. Not necessarily a mistake. Then,
like the top of this was all destroyed. They just used this as a patch.
Or rusted through.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, since we can't talk about current cool sci-fi shows, thanks, Jonathan. We can talk about a really interesting documentary I watched last night on a whim and became so interested in it that it completely. I found it to be really fascinating.
What's that?
It's called Tread.
Tread.
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
You guys remember? God, it was. I think it was when Ronald Reagan got shot.
Okay.
In that time frame. Remember the guy that armored up the bulldozer and began tearing apart that little Colorado town?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
Wasn't it some sort of a good evening, David? Property dispute, if I'm not mistaken.
It was over a lot of different stuff, but the guy had made an audio diary on cassette, and there was a lot of I think he just had a psychotic break.
Okay.
But it was all, but from his point of view, from his videotapes, a lot of it was property dispute and good old boy politics in a little town.
Okay.
And then he drove this bulldozer. He'd armored up this bulldozer and was driving it through all these buildings in this little Colorado town. The documentary is called Tread. And one of the reasons that we only vaguely remember it is because I think it was Ronald Reagan getting shot happened the day after this guy did what he did. So all the media turned to, of course, the president being shot.
Right. Which,
and
an important thing.
Yeah. And, but it's really it's kind of fascinating. And watching the video footage of this gigantic bulldozer that he armored up, and he had guns mounted on the side, and out the back was like this 50 caliber sniper rifle. And he built it. He actually took 2-inch steel plating and then made it so it was like he could pour concrete between the plates. So it had ceramic armor. So if they shot at it and it actually penetrated the first plate, it would hit the concrete, and the concrete, of course, being what it was, would shatter and like ceramic armor and basically dissipate the energy from the round, so it couldn't get through the second plate.
Sweet. It's a documentary in Gaslands.
Pretty much, because that's what he does. He pretty much makes this tank an unstoppable vehicle. As a matter of fact, they never stop it. What stops it is, because of all the extra weight from the plating, it overheats. And he blows his radiator out. But the whole time they're telling the story of what led up to this. They're talking to the townspeople and all the people involved, and then they're playing his audio diary of what was happening. Yeah, the township, they actually called for the National Guard, and they were all they could not figure out how to stop. They were climbing on it. He had mounted cameras in all these different areas on the outside, and then mounted compressed air jet hoses. So because he knew there'd be debris falling on him, so he could actually hit a valve and blow the debris out of the way of the camera so he could see. I mean, the guy was brilliant in what he did. The only thing he didn't take into consideration that when you add as much 2-inch armor plate, steel plate to this thing, and do what you wanted it to do, it overheated. It ended up blowing the radiator. And because they shot 50 caliber rounds at it, they shot everything at it, trying to. And then he on the glass, because he had these glass viewports. He put on either end of the viewport, he put 2-inch a clear acrylic. So it was basically, again, the round would hit the outside and that would dissipate the energy. Yeah, it was insane. It was absolutely insane.
Jonathan's saying he sealed himself inside because he knew he was never coming out.
Yeah, but it's an amazing documentary. It's called Tread. It's on
I'll have
Netflix.
to watch that.
It's about an hour and a half long. But it's really kind of funny when you listen to his tapes about what was happening. And I grew up in a really small town, so there is some. I know there's some weight on that little town politics,
Sure.
where because you get certain families that get rooted into the town and they kind of run the town.
Yep.
It's a little frustrating, but I've never had it be so frustrating. I wanted to armor up a tank and drive through stuff. And my dad had a D8 dozer, so I mean, I had the whole, yeah. So I mean, I could have done it.
You had the potential to make that happen.
I had. Well, this guy was also a military grade welder because he was in the Army as a welder. He learned at the Army. The military taught him how to weld. It was the Army, or I think it might have been Navy. Now that I think about it, but it was actually a really fascinating documentary on this event that I vaguely remember hearing about.
Yeah, I kind of remember the story. It popped up in probably one of those, crazy criminal, retrospect type things.
They got some great footage of him just tearing through these. I mean, they tried to get an end loader out to stop him. They brought in a big pan scraper to stop him. And the bulldozer was just pushing everything out of the way. But they had to evacuate. When he went to the county offices, that was where the public library was. Also, it had a bunch of kids in it. And what really ended up stopping him was the radiator blew, but he was going through a grocery store because he didn't like the guy that owned it, and it had a basement. And the basement, the roof, the floor in the first level gave way, and his right side track fell into the basement.
Uh-oh.
So he couldn't get traction to get out. So he'd overheated. He blew the radiator, was about ready to die anyway, and he couldn't go anywhere. And so then it actually came to a stop.
Yeah, but it was his own doing that brought it to a stop.
It was nothing. It was nothing law enforcement did.
They were kind of just sitting there. Where's the tank at? They need a tank.
Yeah. Well, there was even stories of when, because this guy, I mean, it was just, you have to watch it because there's a lot of really cool details and there's a lot of head scratching. What were you thinking? But the townspeople watched him bring the bulldozer. I mean, they saw the bulldozer, this truck, come into town and watched him unload the bulldozer and basically, bring it in. He didn't do any homes. He did businesses. That's really what he did, Jonathan, according to the documentary. He did all these different businesses that these guys owned. He had planned on doing the houses, but his bulldozer got caught on a basement, and it couldn't go any further.
That's crazy. That's just great. It's kind of like that guy that stole the tank from the armory and just went driving down the streets and nobody knew what to do about it.
Well, he wanted to cut corners, didn't want to take the time to actually weld anything.
Right. He just built a tank. He just stole a tank. Yeah.
And then, of course, the when they finally got done, a lot of the townspeople were like, "Hey, keep the tank intact. It'll be a tourist attraction." And the city and the county just wanted it dismantled and destroyed. And there was some kind of we don't want anyone getting a hold of this and looking at being some kind of ancient artifact, or we want to basically. So they for what they said, they destroyed the tank, which means for this documentary they had to rebuild it. Because
perfect.
If they didn't, they look like they built an exact replica of it, and they were using that for some of the reenactments. It was like, woo!
But I kind of remember the story in that town. And it had a lot to do with his property. Like he was like a hoarder, or he was just an eccentric guy.
Well, that's the thing. He wasn't really a hoarder. He got everything he wanted. But if you listen, they basically go through and listen to all he lays out all the stuff this town and county did to him, and then they talk to all the people, not only the people involved, but the people that knew him, and none of it adds up. Everything he was saying was happening. No one else, whether they were involved or not, could actually what's the word I'm looking for? State that it was true. He had no verification. They couldn't verify anything he said was happening was actually true. Like no one saw. Like for example, at one point he said that there was a public argument. This one guy that he was pissed at, excuse my language, he was angry at, attacked him verbally in this public auction. No one at the auction could verify a statement. Okay. No one could say, yeah, he did that.
So I'm getting him confused with somebody else.
Yeah, because according to him, they put him through a lot. But when you actually talk to the townspeople and the people that are there, they're like, yeah, he kind of didn't like this guy, and yeah, that guy wasn't really likable. But I don't recall that happening. So they don't say absolutely it never happened, but they really can't substantiate it either. So there's not this whole two sides of the argument saying, yeah, you did that, and then the other guy's denying it, and you're going back and forth. So right. But one of those things late at night, I couldn't sleep. I turned it on. I thought, well, this looks kind of interesting, and I vaguely remembered it. And then by the end of it, I'm like, I'm sitting up in bed, and I'm like staring at it, going, "Wow, this is awesome."
This is like your Tiger King.
Yeah, well, kind of. It almost. I don't have any family in this one though.
Are you sure?
I'm fairly sure.
I don't know.
I could have done it. I had access to a bulldozer, not quite as big as that one, but I would have.
Well, if you think about most police departments, though, they don't have the equipment for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like if something like that happened in our city, we have a Bearcat, so we have an armored vehicle, but it ain't stopping a bulldozer.
Not a bulldozer this size.
No.
No. Matter of fact, my dad, they would have probably come down and got half my dad. My dad had a forklift, and a forklift that literally could have come up and probably rolled it over. We had a 50-ton forklift that could have probably done some damage when I was growing up. But yeah, they tried everything, but it's just an interesting documentary that you come across.
I'll have to watch it
late night on Netflix when you're surfing Netflix looking for something to watch.
When there's nothing to watch. Oh, they do. I want them to remake Night Stalker series.
Night Stalker was a good series. Are we talking Kolchak the Night Stalker? Is that the one we're talking about? That Night Stalker?
Are you talking about Night Stalker, the serial killer?
Well, I don't know if you guys remember the old Kolchak the Night Stalker, where he was a reporter and he kept investigating these these odd monsters and stuff like that. Good show.
So I'm just playing with green stuff now.
Green stuff, playing with green stuff.
Well, I just want to make it look like it's welded on. So what I'm doing is just pushing it all up underneath it. Then I'm going to trim the top of this stuff off.
Right.
And then I'll give it just kind of a good weld look.
Oh yeah, Forever Night was a good show, and so yeah, I know that's the one I was talking about. Kolchak the Night Stalker. Yeah, Forever Night was really good.
Well, wasn't Night Stalker also a serial killer?
Well, there was a documentary called Night Stalker about Bundy, if I remember correctly.
Bundy, okay.
Yeah.
I thought there was another serial killer named Night Stalker.
Yeah, there was a monster every week. Yeah. That was Kolchak. Yeah, Forever Night was great. About the guy that was a detective that was a vampire, but he only worked nights because he was a vampire.
Well, yeah, because he'd sparkle during the day.
Wrong types of vampire.
Oh, isn't that what they are?
No,
Uh, I'm
but it
so
doesn't
backwards.
surprise me that you're into them.
You know, I'm kind of into whatever my wife's into.
Yeah, I was the same way. My my the girls in my family are all about which team they were on.
Yeah, just glad that they didn't make the Disney rides out of it. Grim.
Yeah, Grimm was a good show as well. Didn't last. How many seasons did it last? It was actually pretty good. Again, it was another one of those Monster of the Week shows. Good stuff.
It's one of the advantages I like about green stuff is the work time. Put way too much on.
Jonathan is asking you about Mike, your wife. You mean your younger sister?
Yes, Jonathan thinks my wife is my younger sister.
Okay.
Well, he doesn't see her on a regular basis. And one day we were in the shop. He was like, "Is that his wife or his younger sister?" I'm like, "Well, first I don't have a younger sister, so
That means he thinks you look old.
I know,
uh,
I know what."
I'm sorry. I was just finding it funny.
You know,
Being the oldest guy whenever you and I go anywhere. But,
he's a young whippersnapper.
yeah. So Jonathan, when they ended Grimm, after they finally got a chance to get a little deeper into it, when it was all over, the series finale, did you go, wow, that was Grimm? Did you do that? Was it good?
Was it a grim ending?
You probably watched Once Upon a Time as well, didn't you?
Me?
Like, yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
Ooh, okay. It was a soap opera type show about fairy tales.
Yeah, no.
All the fairy tale creatures were running around.
No, can't say I watched that one, sir.
Like maybe I didn't think you would, but I thought maybe your wife would have been into it.
When did it come out? It just depends on when it came out.
It's been the last couple years, last 2 years, I should say.
Yeah.
It was one of those ones that all the girls in my house were all into.
I can say thank God I didn't.
Don showed up. Hey, Don.
Hey Don, what's up, buddy?
I like the way Underworld portrayed vampires as well, Greg. I actually like the way they portrayed werewolves as well.
What's that?
Greg said he likes the way Underworld portrayed vampires. The Kate Beckinsale series, which I actually did as well. I thought that they were done pretty well. I really liked it. It's one of my favorite movies. And I like the way I like the way most movies nowadays portray werewolves. Other than I like the original werewolf myth versus what it's become, but
All right. Sorry, I kind of got entranced with just making that look like it's welded on. So, and again, just don't want it to look smooth and clean. Just want it to look all kind of. Uh-oh.
What?
I don't know. Something ding-donged.
Yeah, it's my printer. It's going through an update, and I don't have any way to turn the volume down. So
Turn down the printer.
it'll just keep chirping. Once upon a time, season 1 and 2 enjoyed it. As the wife watched. After that, I checked out. He loved Rumpelstiltskin. So Jonathan saw Once Upon a Time.
I can't watch everything.
I don't have time to be honest with you. And I can't talk about certain shows because Jonathan's not caught up.
Yeah.
Joe, I actually liked Wolf. I thought it was really good. And that's one of the movies that goes back to the original werewolf myth that I think a lot of movies have gotten away from, because now if you are stricken with the curse of the werewolf, you automatically become bad. Where in the original, when you were bit and had the mark of the wolf, it would actually bring out your innermost self. So if you were corrupt and evil, and you would be that would be reflected in how you acted. Where like Nicholson didn't give into that. He became a protector, and I've always liked that mythology. I really had. I thought that was a great werewolf film. And James Spader, anything with James Spader in it, especially with Spader and Nicholson in the same movie, how can you go wrong?
Your printer's just having a field day, buddy.
I can't believe you can hear it that well because my mic's quite a ways away from it.
Yeah.
Well, I hope it's not too distracting.
No.
So, all right. Well, all the lights just went off, but it may be rebooting now, so it may come back on. So
here's I'm just going to do the old American 50 cal.
Woo-hoo!
And I'm just going to have it just kind of sticking out right there.
Ooh, awesome. Yes, I liked Werewolf 2 with Benicio del Toro. Yeah.
And what's cool about that is I got this plastic piece right here, and I can just glue it straight into that. So. And what I'll probably do is just notch it. So it's like that.
Yeah, anything Anthony Hopkins and Benicio del Toro is actually another. He's really, really good. So yeah, I love that series, that movie. I wish they'd do more. You can keep your silly vampires. I'll take werewolves any day.
For some reason, I know why you like wolves.
I always have, actually. My love of wolves actually goes well beyond and before Games Workshop was ever a known thing. And now I'm getting Discord uploads that are clicking on my computer.
Uh-oh.
My computer's just gotten really well. The problem is I use the speakers on my computer, so I can't turn any of it off. What the heck?
What's wrong?
I don't know.
something go wonky in Discord?
I'm getting some weird sound effects. I think my computer's possessed.
Well, technology isn't necessarily your friend.
I don't really care as long as it just works.
I don't care that it's possessed as long as it works.
Yeah, so when I was a kid, I had this massively weird fascination with wolves, and then werewolves. At one point in my life, I actually sponsored 20 wolves in Colorado.
What do you mean? You
there was you could get into a program for all the preserves that allowed wolf packs and basically you could actually pick wolves out of the pack and sponsor them. So you would send so much money every month, and you basically got updates on how the pack was doing, and how your member of the pack was, and you could actually kind of adopt a wolf in a way.
Sweet.
Oh, I know what that other sound is. I'm hearing. My window is open, so I'm hearing stuff outside. Yeah, so I've always had a fascination with wolves, and when I was a kid, werewolves were a major fascination for me. All right, I may have a poltergeist now.
Uh-oh.
I've just got all sorts of weird sounds coming from either right outside my door or in from my computer. Can you guys hear those?
Well, I'm hearing a jet fly overhead my house.
Oh, that may be what I'm hearing. Oh, okay, that's what it is. It's from your system. Okay, great. Oh, that explains it. I was starting to go like, what the heck? My house is possessed. I'm going to be killed in my sleep tonight.
So that's what I'm looking at for the gun.
Oh, cool.
You'll see it on the inside. You'll just kind of see the barrel coming out the front. And then that's my little fix for my hole that I made.
That's
just kind of reinforcing the top.
That's just mean, Joe. That looks really good, buddy.
Oh my gosh.
That's just Joe. You're really a mean person. But yeah, long before the space wolves, I had a fascination with wolves. It's the point I was trying to make.
That's what attracted you to them.
Yeah. I always get very upset when they're referred to as creatures of evil, or they're technically not.
They're just misunderstood puppy dogs.
Every time a vampire flick comes out and they show the wolves being under the vampire's control because they're creatures of the night. It's like, are you kidding me? They're freaking majestic and awesome and cool, and would eat me in a heartbeat, no matter how loyal I am. If I caught myself out in the middle of nowhere with a pack of wolves on me.
I don't know. There was a wolf in Harry Potter.
Okay, I didn't like that wolf. he kind of looked like a drowned rat.
He did. I didn't care.
I was really excited because oh god, I can't something black.
Sirius Black.
Sirius Black. He was that black dog, and I was real excited there was going to be a werewolf, and I got real excited, and then I saw that wolf, and I was, are you kidding me? All the money you're putting in these movies, and that's the CGI you're going to use?
It was pretty lame. I think they had to compete with the whole Teen Wolf thing that was going on at the time.
They probably didn't want to be accused of ripping off other people's ideas. However, a wolf is a wolf. They all look the same. That was very disappointing.
As much as I may not like the Vampire Diary, Jake, whatever, sparkly vampire things, they did the CGI they did for those wolves was amazing.
Oh God, it was great. Well, if you want to know a secret, the tattoo on my right arm
Yeah.
is from Twilight.
Twilight, that's the movie.
Yep. It is actually the symbol that the wolves in Twilight had tattooed on their chest.
I knew you liked Twilight.
I like the wolves.
But the CGI they used was amazing.
I thought it was great. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And I love the whole story behind how they became wolves. And so
I just didn't care much for the overall movie, but
they weren't bad films. I mean, they're not. I mean, because I like film, they weren't bad. They were. My teenage daughters liked them,
right.
and that was kind of who they were written for.
Yeah, they weren't written for you.
I haven't seen Gray yet, Greg. I really want to. I need to see that.
Is that the Disney one?
Gray is the one I think with Liam Neeson, where he's basically, I think he's being hunted by a pack of wolves. Is that correct? Liam Neeson's in that, is he not? Greg, if that's the one I'm thinking of. Dude, what do you live near an airport?
I live by a military base.
Ooh, there we go.
I'm down Luke Air Force Base. It's just down the street from my house.
Oh, that's right.
I'm over there. I'm part of their flight path.
Well, it's because you're so, they just like you so much. They
Well,
probably
no.
take aerial photos.
Boy, they need a new hobby. All right, so this is all glued together. Yeah, Liam Neeson.
Yeah, I'm going to have to. I haven't seen that yet. I really want to. And now Greg's got me all like, ooh, I got to see this.
So this just needs to dry, and then I need to do a few more modifications, and I'll be done. So now I'm going to get to work on this.
What is this?
This is the coupe.
Oh, the coupe.
I want to cut this plastic out right here. They fly over my house. Oh, David, you're in Waddell. You are not too far from me, sir. And this car, I actually screwed and tapped together. Free air show every day. David, wait till they actually do the air show. And you've got all the big jets and everything flying around out at Luke. It's actually quite impressive.
They do a real big air show in Fredericksburg, Maryland, which is in the Maryland Panhandle.
Yeah.
And every year after Thanksgiving, we will be coming home from Ohio, and we drive by it. And if we hit that area at the wrong time, we'd get stuck in the traffic. But if we did, we'd always have an air show to watch because they would be flying over. We could see them pretty clearly from the freeway. It was always nice.
So this section I need to cut out happens to be where the pegs are for holding the back legs in place, or the back axle in place.
Ooh.
So this is going to require a little bit more thoughtful cutting.
A little more process. Decision time.
Well, just
more planning.
I wouldn't get carried away with planning.
He thought poorly.
I think I just need to be careful.
Fair enough.
Just don't know.
I just thought I'd give it some, serious narration.
Some drama.
Some drama.
Yeah, when we first moved out here, there was an air show going on, and they over my house, one of the big cargo planes. I don't know what their numbers are,
Right.
but the huge cargo plane
Right.
flew over my house.
Ooh, C-130.
Is that the big one that
I think that's
like
the big
transports tanks?
one. I believe it is.
Well, that son of a gun flew over because our house at that time, this area wasn't that developed.
I bet it rattled your windows.
Oh, it rattled the ground I was on. It was extremely impressive.
I remember in the early '80s, not early, probably mid '80s, right before the first Gulf War, when the U.S. Air Force decommissioned the SR-71.
Which one's that? What airplane is
That's the big spy plane,
Okay.
the big U.S. spy plane that actually didn't need to be decommissioned because it's still the best spy plane ever. And they were bringing one in to Wright Pat in Dayton for the museum.
Uh-huh.
But they had basically left it secret. They didn't tell anybody or publicize that it was coming in because they hadn't actually decommissioned all the super secret stuff about it.
Right.
And something like 1,500 people show up to see it land at like 2 a.m. So then the first Gulf War gets going, and they realized they needed the SR-71, so they brought it back into service. The Air Force brought it back into service. So they basically had a top secret launch of the SR-71 that had been sitting on display at Wright Pat. And about 5,000 people showed up to watch that top secret takeoff. And I remember the film crews were actually talking about it on the local news, going, "Well, the only thing this really tells us that the Air Force needs to get better at keeping secrets."
Yes. Oh, that's funny. David, I live in Surprise, so I live off of Bullard and Cactus. I live over here in Marley Park, so that's where I'm at. I moved out here 11, 12 years ago.
Okay, so, all right. Sorry, Don says it's not the C-130; it's the C-5. That's the really big guy.
Okay.
Yeah. I do not keep up on modern aircraft other than the SR-71.
Well, Luke now flies the new fighter jets.
The YF-35, the F-35s?
I don't know, the one that all the controversy was over.
Yeah, I think it's the 35s. So all I know is the only Air Force aircraft I used to like to go watch were the A-10s down in Tucson.
A-10s, are those the
With the ground assault aircraft?
Yeah.
The as stated, the only ground attack aircraft in the world that after it expends its ordnance is still an effective fighter because it can fly along the battlefield and ugly the enemy to death.
So I'm doing a lot of modifications to get this thing out.
A lot of mods.
A lot of mods.
Yeah, the C-130, that's that one. Yeah, I had forgotten about the C-5. Like I said, I don't keep. In my opinion, all modern aircraft look alike. Even they all just look the same. If you wanted to be a cool pilot, World War II was when to be in the planes because every aircraft looked different.
For the most part,
Yeah, every aircraft looked different.
They had their points. Like obviously, the Corsair out in the Pacific, you didn't see those in the European theater.
Well, you got. I mean, even like if you just look at the main fighters of the U.S. in World War II, you had the P-47, the P-51, the P-30, the P-39, the Corsair, the Hellcat. If you line them all up, without any doubt, if you know anything about World War II, you can identify what they are. Now,
Right.
you have the same thing between like the Hornet and the Tomcat, but as you move farther and farther into jet technology, the aerodynamics just dictate this is how it needs to look. But if you look at a Spitfire from World War II in comparison to a P-51 or to a Focke-Wulf 190 or an ME-109, they're massively distinctively different. And I just like the aircraft. It's just a little, in my opinion, a little bit more personal. Doesn't mean I don't like modern aircraft. I just prefer them. You know, even World War I aircraft are kind of uniformly very similar.
Yeah.
So
the Warthog. I know what the Warthog is. I don't think that's what flew over my house though.
No, they're stationed down at the airfield in Tucson. You can always see them flying around in Tucson if you go down.
Yeah, I don't think they brought one of those up for the air show.
Yeah.
And again, the air show that they do over at Luke is just amazing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I just like air shows in general. They're all just really cool.
The A-10 is Fable and ability to stall itself out and make.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, Greg. We didn't share a lot of technology back then. Now we kind of, from country to country, because of World War II, we share a lot of our technology now, which we didn't before.
So I cut that little section out.
Dude, we're talking aircraft. You don't hear about your diecast car.
So I cut that little section out. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'll put a solid piece down at the bottom, and I'm just going to have a little dude sitting out there with a gun. So I'll need to go through my little dude collection and see what I can make happen.
You know, every time I look at this thing that I'm working on, the word Razorback just pops into my head.
Razorback. What?
Razor face. Oh, sorry.
Yes, we can do that.
The Razor Face Bel Air.
I'm down with that.
One of my favorite things in Guardian of the Galaxy. Taser face.
Taser face. We watched that the other day. It was hilarious as always.
It's a great movie. Great movie. Yeah, but we didn't get to be as eclectic as we wanted to be, Jonathan, because we can't talk about The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Because you have to wait till breakfast tomorrow so you and your wife can watch it. Just saying. The things we sacrifice for you, dude.
Mary Poppins, y'all.
That was a great line. That absolutely was a great line. That's a great movie. Both of them are good. I'm kind of disappointed that the third is taking so long to get out.
I don't know if I like that, dude.
We got a ton of uploads on Discord. I don't know if you've seen them recently.
I checked them earlier today.
Well, we got a bunch of Rob's Flames of War stuff is loaded up.
Yes.
More terrain from Joe.
Yeah.
We got Mark. Mark has put up his Thanksgiving entry, his projects. We got. I don't think are on Discord yet, but I got a lot of pictures of Jonathan's progress on his Titan.
Well, I don't know if maybe Jonathan can bless us and join us on Discord.
Yeah, I don't think he's put him on Discord yet, or if he's going to put him on Discord. maybe him and his wife are looking for the predecessor to the program for Discord so he can catch up before he does it. I'm sorry. Am I beating that dead horse?
Nah.
Okay, I got one superpower. That's it.
So I'm liking this guy with the shotgun. I think I'll just cut him off at like the knees. And just
You're
mount
gonna cut him off the knee. Normally, if I see a guy with the shotgun, that's what I attempt to do: cut him off the knees, unless I'm running, and then I just keep running.
Well, I don't think I want him standing up in the back. I want it to look like he's sitting down.
Well, every good B dystopian movie has a bunch of guys standing in the back of a truck that's doing 80 miles an hour across the ground. Rough, not road, not paved highway, desert terrain, and they all end up getting crushed.
All right, I can make him standing.
Oh, yeah, it's up to you, buddy. I'm just saying this.
Well, no, it works actually.
Watch the beginning of Punisher. They're all in the back of that truck.
Oh yeah. It's kind of weird that those jets are flying this late at night.
Okay, Greg.
There
Greg. Ooh, nice. That looks like a movie poster.
you go. So he'll just be standing back there with a shotgun. That's kind of the look I'm going with.
That's awesome. That looks like a ZZ Top cover. You're asking if I saw the movie A Start Days? Greg, is that what you're asking me? And yes, I have. I have it on DVD and Blu-ray and streaming. So
You must really like that movie.
it's a great movie. It's a fantastic movie. I like anything Space Marine related, to tell you the truth. I liked it, buddy. I thought it was pretty good. I get disappointed because they only ever do the Ultramarines, which are a little more I can't say evangelical, but there's like more of a religious warrior tone to how they act. I would love to see more stuff written about the other chapters that don't maybe not have that kind of a feel, that are just a bunch of guys,
hanging out.
Well, kind of. I mean, there's always going to be a little bit of that mystique because of just the world they're set in. But the Ultramarines, I mean, God, I'm glad they don't do the Black Templars. It'd be like, oh my God, we're looking at Marine Catholicism. So I kind of wish there'd be a little more of that kind of a feel to them. But I enjoy them. I liked it quite a bit, actually. As a matter of fact, I've been meaning to watch it lately because it is so good, and the voice actors they got were just really, really good. Man, time flies.
I was just gonna say I'm pretty much I'm at a stopping point. Everything I've got going on needs to dry. Because for this car, I'm at the point of painting it.
You play the Peter Gunn theme while I'm doing this.
But I got the guy mounted in the back. Actually, I need to do the window pieces next.
Right.
Because I'm going to make the windows solid steel, and then I'm going to mount machine guns coming out the sides of them.
Ooh, I think that'd
And
be
then
nice.
I'll get ready to paint that. This guy just needs the green stuff just needs to dry. I want to clean up down here a little bit, the super glue,
Right.
and then I need to cut the window up to fill these gaps in where the interior's at. The window, if I cut the window up, I can use the excess plastic basically just to fill those gaps in to make them look solid.
Right. Right.
And but for the most part, this thing's gonna be done. I'm probably just gonna weather the heck out of this one too.
Right. You're right, Greg. I got my movies mixed up. I've been meaning to watch that one on YouTube, but I have not seen it yet. Ultramarine is the one I was thinking about.
Oh, Ultramarine is good.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking about. He's talking about the one I've seen it on YouTube quite a bit.
Yeah, if Astartes is what I'm thinking of, that's a fan made
Yeah.
40K type thing, and it's for fan made. It's awesome.
I may watch it before I go to bed. But anyway, here we are.
All right.
Here's what I got done tonight. I got the wheels base coated. I got the screen painted. Got the inside of the things done. I got the spikes done here. Got the bumper done back here. So I'm still, like I said, I'll work on this again next week before I get to the actual. But I got to do the chrome trim here and the rest of the bumper, and then I'll I got a lot more work to do, but
yeah, but it's looking good.
We're heading that way.
We're
heading that way.
We're heading in the right direction. Jonathan loves your spikes.
I'm kind of liking it too.
I think it's better. So you shot me a picture of the original spikes you were going with, and those had a very much grease lightning-esque type look to them.
Yeah.
And for Bel Air, it kind of worked.
Well, I'll be honest, that was the reason that I went that way on those blades was because I kept thinking, where have I knew I'd seen a car and grease popped into my head, and that whole big drag race and those hubcaps I found to be where I wanted to go. But again, on that kind of thing, they just started looking really not practical.
Right.
And that's when I went with the actual spikes coming out of the tires that looked a little bit more.
And those would be, in my eyes, if you think about post-apocalyptic type of a storyline, they found some railroad spikes or they found some thick rebarb and they just welded it right to the wheels and just made it kind of a chop up hot, top.
Well, that's the thing that I always go back to. Like, for example, in World War II, when they put the front for the hedgerows in France, here in France, they put those big huge hedgerow cutters on the front of the Shermans.
Yeah,
those were actually cut up from all the leftover fortifications on the beaches of Normandy.
Oh,
the big huge I-beams they had welded together. Literally, the mechanics cut them apart and then took that metal and made those hedgerow cutters for the front of Shermans. So I always think of that kind of stuff. What would they find around them that they could use? Yeah. And that's kind of because I looked at it when I did that first prototype. I went, yeah, that's too corny. It doesn't look what I want it to do. And that's when I went, man, I can just put spikes coming out and angle them in a way that they're traveling the way of the wheel, so they can actually kind of dig into the metal or flesh or whatever they're going by.
I think you're going in the right direction.
I think so too.
So I would keep moving in that direction.
Yeah, I started going a little too far because at one point I was looking at lining all the windows with spikes and just going a little crazy with the whole spike thing. So.
Well, you could do a lot of spikes on a car.
Yeah.
It could be done. It's a fragile car at that point. Tim did one, and he's had no problems with it. He's had like one or two spikes pop off.
Yeah, well, it also depends on if you're conscious of it. And I don't want to pull a Greg.
What's that?
Well, Greg, in one game, Greg had made, I think it was 120 Goblin Spearman unit. And one of the downsides to it was there was 120 Spearmen with these gigantic plastic spear tips pointing up. And if I remember correctly, there was a couple times he poked himself really good with it.
I've done that too with the little goblin spikes.
Yes.
So, especially when they fall on the floor and you don't realize they're on the floor.
Do you remember that line of models that came out where they basically put a pin for the swords?
Yep.
And they had to stop doing that because it was a little dangerous.
Like Grenadier, I think, or something
Yeah,
like that.
it was one of those companies that had to actually stop doing it because it was bad. It was really bad. So
People were actually going to the hospital with spears in their hands. Anyways, I had fun. I got some work done on my cars. I'm gonna have to stop doing demonstrations because every time I do a demonstration, it goes south.
No, I think you and I both, because you are again much mentally more stable than me. Because
I wouldn't go too far with that.
Well, okay, I'll give you that. I will, when things don't go right for me, rather I don't say anything about it. It's just after the show, I sit here for 20 minutes and bash my forehead into the top of my table, and beat myself up because it went so bad. But I think what we both need to do is just realize that, because quite frankly, they even happen when we're not on camera. We just don't notice it as bad because we're not on camera. And I think that's the factor that we both got to get to. That I mean that's part of the hobby is you have to go, oh, that didn't work, let's try another angle. And in most cases, no matter how many times you think it out or practice it or have done it before, there's always going to be that one that's going to go haywire on you. So
it's going to go south. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be the one we're doing on the show.
In most cases, yes.
The good thing is I just laugh it off and move on. So
and I don't. I beat myself up about it. So.
And Greg, get in touch with me. Tell me, I know you mentioned you like the Bel Air, so I'll go ahead and strip this one down for you, and we'll hook up and get you some cars sent, buddy.
And Greg, you've now got because I got your message. You couldn't IM me, so now you've got my Facebook, so you can IM me whenever you want, bud. Because I know he's wanting me to do some of those Death Watch for him. So
yeah. All right. Well, everybody, thank you very much for joining us. Tune back in on Wednesday, 7 o'clock Arizona time, 9 o'clock Eastern time.
Ignore the ending credits of all the shows because I haven't had a chance to get them fixed yet because I just haven't had time and I haven't taken the time. So
well, you've had other things to deal with.
Yes.
In life. And again, join us. We're still moving on with Tanksgiving, so we're still working on our tanks. I've got my squig off in full motion and ready to rock and roll. So it's going to be some detail work on him before I can get him primed and painted. And we'll be good. Then we'll be also Saturdays. What's new with Mike and Jeff?
I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that in the evenings this week I can work on my current Tanksgiving project, which is my bore rider.
Right.
So that on next Saturday's show, and do not hold me to this because if I had a day, if I have another day like today, I don't know what I'm going to get done. Or I was in doctor's offices and hospital labs all day long. I'm going to hopefully get the board done so I can premiere it on Saturday's show, and then switch my Thanksgiving project to my Stormfang.
Sweet.
So we'll see how it goes.
Fingers crossed.
Oh, your Warhound almost built for Thanksgiving. That's great. Put some pictures on Discord.
It almost counts. All right, you guys. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. We will see you again on Wednesday night. So enjoy, have a safe week, and we'll catch you later.
See you guys.
Bye.